Wan had always been confident in their appearance. They had no reason not to be. Growing up, they'd been taught that self-worth wasn't measured by size, and that their body had always been a source of insecurity. Well, it never had. They felt comfortable in their own skin, no matter what anybody else thought. But that all changed the moment Bakugou spoke those words. It had been quiet all evening at the dorm. Everyone was lounging in the common room, chatting idly or scrolling on their phones. The atmosphere was relaxed, and Wan, for once, was in a good mood. They'd had a very productive day of training, and they were feeling proud of their progress. They were wearing their favorite oversized hoodie and some comfy pants. Nothing too fancy, but they felt great. Bakugou sprawled on the couch, his usual scowl firmly in place. He was half-heartedly playing a game on his phone as he occasionally tossed insults at anyone who dared to speak to him. Wan loved him, even with his grumpy demeanor. They had gotten used to his bluntness, his rough edges, and they even found comfort in it. Until that moment. Kirishima had just made a joke about something earlier, a training mishap that had happened earlier in the day. Wan laughed, covering their mouth, but Bakugou was not just one to let them miss an opportunity. He shot them a glance. Did you just? He looked up at them with a puzzled expression. Wan froze, unsure of where this conversation was heading. The way Bakugou was eyeing them up and down felt different. It felt critical, like he was observing them. They shifted uncomfortably, glancing at the others in the room. Kirishima, sensing the attention, looked at Bakugou. "What's up, man?" he said, his voice hesitant. "Nothing," Bakugou growled, still looking at Wan, his tone sharper. "It's just... Are you sure you've been working out? Look at you." Wan's stomach dropped, and their heart clenched. It felt like the air had been sucked out of the room. Bakugou's words had hit them like a punch to the gut, and though they tried to brush it off, it wasn't easy. Don't get me wrong, they weren't fat by any means. Sure, they didn't have a ripped physique like some of their classmates did, but they weren't insecure about it. At least, they hadn't been. Until now. What's that supposed to mean? Wan asked, trying to keep the voice steady, though the hurt was evident. They could feel their chest tightening, and their breath going shallow. Bakugou blinked, clearly not realizing the impact of his words. Just saying. You're a little soft. Maybe you should hit the gym more often if you want to keep up. The room went silent. Kirishima's eyes widened, and even Kaminari stopped texting. Everyone was holding their breath, waiting for Wan's reaction. Wan's eyes burned with unshed tears, and they quickly turned away, refusing to let anybody see them break. "I'm fine," they muttered, standing up abruptly. "I don't need to hear this from you." They didn't wait for anyone to respond, quickly turning towards the door. They needed to be alone, away from the laughter and the judgment that now felt suffocating. Their hands trembled as they grabbed the jacket from the coat rack, but they didn't care. They needed space. Bakugou sat there, staring at them, blinking in a little bit of confusion. He hadn't meant it in a way that meant to hurt them. He wasn't one to be sensitive about things, but he saw that look in Wan's eye. The way that it showed the weight of his words had hit hard. But now he couldn't take them back. Kirishima cleared his throat, offering Bakugou a lookless at all. Dude, that was uncalled for. Shut up, Bakugou growled, his fist clenching. You didn't mean it like that. You never do, Kirishima replied, voice gentle but firm. But you've gotta think before you speak, especially with them. Bakugou's jaw tightened. He knew Kirishima was right. He had a habit of speaking before actually thinking the words through. And it had cost him a few times than he would like. A few more than he'd like, but this time felt different. He didn't like the idea of Lion being upset at him. Lion had locked themselves in their room. The words echoed in their mind, replaying over and over again. Look at you. Soft. It didn't matter how many times they told themselves it wasn't true. They couldn't shake the feeling that they had somehow let Bakugou down. Their body was not good enough for him. It was silly. They knew he was just being an asshole most of the time, and they had learned to take his gruffness with a grain of salt, but when it came from him, somebody they trusted, someone they cared about, it stung. There was a knock at the door. Ryan. Bakugou's voice was rough and uncertain. Ryan swallowed, wiping their eyes. Go away. The door clicked open and Bakugou stepped inside, not waiting for an invitation. I'm not leaving until you listen to me, his voice said, very low. Ryan didn't even look up at him, their gaze fixed on the floor. What's there to listen to? You think I'm soft, Bakugou? You think I'm weak? His face softened in guilt, but it didn't stop him from opening his mouth. I didn't mean it like that, alright? I was just trying to but you, okay, and I fucked up and I didn't think it through. Ryan shook their head, finally meeting his eyes. You can't just say shit like that. You don't get to make me feel bad about myself because you're angry. His expression hardened slightly. There was no anger in his eyes, only regret. Babe, I'm sorry, alright? I didn't mean to hurt you. I don't think you're weak. I think you're stronger than you even know. Ryan blinked, caught off guard by his honesty. For a moment, they didn't say anything, just taking in his hurt words. I know you may have not meant to hurt me, they said quietly, but you still did. Bakugou nodded slowly. I get it. I'm a fucking idiot. Ryan chuckled softly despite the lingering pain in their heart. Yeah, you are. They sat in silence for a moment, both of them kind of unsure of what to say next. Finally, he sighed. You're fine the way you are. Don't let the way I speak make you think otherwise. He offered. Ryan offered him a small tip to smile in return. Thanks. Just, I think next time before you speak. Okay? They asked. He nodded, his usual scowl returning, but there was something softer about it. Yeah, just don't get all emotional. Ryan snorted. I'm not emotional. Okay? The next few days passed in a tense but quiet way. Despite his apology, his words still lingered in Ryan's mind, and there was a sense of understanding now. Ryan tried to push past it, tried to act like everything was normal and fine and sweet and fluffy, but it wasn't easy. Every glance felt loaded, as if he was suddenly apologizing without saying a word, and they appreciated it, but it didn't quite erase the sting from his earlier remark. Ryan had found solace in their room and in their usual routine, keeping busy with training and schoolwork, but it was hard to ignore the weight of everything when Bakugou was just a few rooms away. Every time they crossed paths, they found themselves giving a lingering glance, wondering if he was truly sorry, or if his pride was just making him apologize. One evening, after a particularly grueling training session, Ryan found themselves in the common room, nursing a sore shoulder. They were sitting by themselves, absentmindedly scrolling through their phone, trying to avoid how their bodies still felt a little sore from the constant effort. It didn't help that Bakugou was on the other side of the room, talking to Kiri and the others, clearly in his usual bad mood. Ryan had managed to push the feelings back down and shove them to the back of their mind for the most part, but now, alone with their thoughts, they couldn't help but feel the anxiety creeping up once again. Maybe Bakugou was right. Maybe they had let themselves go. Maybe they weren't pushing themselves hard enough. Maybe they should be doing more hard work. You good? Wyan's heart jumped. The sound of Bakugou's voice, and then they look up, seeing him standing right in front of them. His expression softer than usual, but they were still etched to it. Oh, yeah, just tired, Wyan said quickly, offering a half-hearted smile. Training's been rough today. Bakugou didn't even respond right away. He simply studied them, his eyes scanning them as if looking for something to say. Then without a word, he sat down beside them, leaving little distance between their bodies, but still enough that Wyan could feel the warmth of his presence. He looked uncomfortable. He wasn't quite sure what to say. I didn't mean what I said the other day, he muttered after a long pause. I fucked up and I told you I did. You're not soft, you're not... He stopped, clearly trying to find the words, and frowned, tilting the head forward. I know, okay? Don't apologize again. I know you didn't mean it. But, girl, it doesn't mean you can just throw words around like that. I know, he said quietly. I get that. Like, I can be an idiot sometimes. I don't always think before I say stuff. Lan nodded, the heart still lingering, but less sharp now. I could see he was trying. It's not about thinking, though. It's about respect. You don't get to make me feel like I'm not good enough, especially when it comes to something that's so personal. Bakugou's eyes softened, his jaw clenching naturally, as if he was fighting his instinct to get defensive. Instead, he sat there for a moment. Wyan had never seen him like this before, so open and vulnerable. It was almost like a flight had gone out of him. I'm sorry, he said again, and this time his voice was more sincere. I don't know how else to say it, but I am. You're fine the way you are, and you don't need to change for anybody, not me, not anyone. Wyan didn't know how to respond, but the words were nice, but they didn't make everything better. They could still feel the hurt of the comment in their heart, the one that they had made about themselves. But when they were sitting next to him now, he wasn't rushing to make excuses. That just made it feel worth it. Like, maybe it was worth it to move past it. Thanks, Wyan said quietly. But it's still gonna take a little bit of time, I'm still hurt. I get it, Bakugou replied, his voice was a whisper. I don't expect you to forgive me just like that, but I'll do better, and I'm not gonna say shit like that again. It's stupid. Wyan could feel the sincerity in his words, his tone in his voice, though they didn't still really know how to fully let go and forgive him. They felt that tiny glimmer of hope. Just maybe this relationship didn't have to be perfect. Maybe it could just be okay. Maybe it would be okay for it to have flaws as long as they worked them out together. Wyan realized something. They didn't need Bakugou to be perfect. They didn't need him to always have the right words or be emotionally open all the time. All that mattered what he was trying. And he cared enough to do better. And for now, that was enough. Okay guys, I feel like the story, I haven't talked to you guys on and on in so long, but what do you want to see? Don't worry, I'm finishing that story with alternate endings. It's a few more people to do. But do you guys know I wake up at 5 a.m. to record these now? I feel like that's a bit insane, isn't it? Because I have to do it before I get to my course. So, what do you guys want to see? Because I'm not running out of ideas or characters or anything, but I just want something nice and fresh. I feel like nothing has really, no media has really come out recently that's for this. But yeah, just Tell me what you guys want, what you want to see. And I literally love you so much. Have a good day, night, afternoon, or whatever. Bye.